American racing has a term for short ovals that force many cars into a tiny confined space. They call it a bull ring. The name conjures images of danger, with the constant threat of getting the horns looming in every driver's mind. And while it was coined mainly for ovals, Lime Rock Park seems like the most fitting track to claim as the bull ring of road courses. Unbelievably, this is a place that also sees multi-class racing, and today our classic IMSA cars will attempt just that. We'll find out who is left seeing red as we get ready to watch round 9 of the iRacing Kamel GT series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Sean Ambrose. Behind the scenes is our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman, and he's using cameras provided by Ducky Beard. Sean, Lime Rock Park might be a pretty short track, but it hasn't had a short history. Tell us about this circuit.
Joe, Hemingway may have actually visited here when you talk about bull rings, but this track is nestled at the foot of the Berkshire Mountains in northwest corner of Connecticut. Lime Rock Park is a natural terrain road course. Built in 1956, it's the oldest continuously operating road racing venue in the United States. Now, if you're a sports car aficionado, you know this place. If you're an iRacer, you've cursed this place as it is free content, the birthplace of every iRacing road course career. Now, iRacing offers 2 variations, one of which includes a chicane so insane the real-world track officials reconfigured it. Lime Rock is short, only 1.5 miles around, meaning lap traffic is almost always a factor here. It's a clockwise racetrack with 7 turns, 6 of them right-handers. So if you can only afford to change 2 tires during a pit stop, swap out the left sides. We won't worry about that today here in the Kamel GT series, but I will tell you it's tight, with passing often being a case of the hunter waiting for his prey to make a mistake. But enough said. The best way to get an idea of what this place is really like is to jump on board for a GSRC lap around Lime Rock.
All right, we've got Clayton McLeod in the GSRC Nissan, so let's do a lap around Lime Rock Park. Coming down to Big Bend, this is really your only realistic chance to outbrake someone for an overtake, but it's going to be sketchy trying to hold it too wide through here if neither of you gives in. Try to take it as 2 apexes, then, coming off, get the car to the right. The aptly named left-hander is probably best for the late apex, and make sure to hug the left side to give yourself a better shot through the S's. Watch out for wheel spin since the turbo leg can get you. Weave through no name straight, then chuck it into the uphill. Keep the wheel straight over the crest and stay off to the left as you approach West Bend. There's very little runoff on the outside, so if you dip wheels into the grass on exit, it could easily be good night. Finally, there's diving turn. Get the car into the groove down by the curb and be careful about how much you flirt with the dirt. Hopefully, you kept it together and have now finished a lap around Lime Rock Park. There is a lap around Lime Rock Park. Not going to take long, as you can tell, for the Nissans. And even, honestly, the Audis are going to be getting around here incredibly quick. Let's take a look at the points championship while they get their laps in. Of course, the GTP driver standings being led by Keith Ritchie once again. Back to familiar territory for him. Antti Lepisto is not too far behind, only 7 points back. Jamie Hall has been clinging in there, but he's running out of time to try and gun them down at 44 points back. 115 behind the leader for Iamaki, 123 for Olenek, so they're pretty much out of the fight at this point in the season. If we go to the GTO driver standings, the Audis currently up at the top are looking at Vili Ruola with Michael Houghton at least staying within threatening distance, but certainly not very close to the Finn. Ben Laughter also a long ways back, but still a well-respectable 3rd place in the points so far. He has to work hard to try and hold on to that. Ove Trangrade's been trying his best to try and overtake him in the points. Is 127 points back, but you can see he only has 8 drop points, so he's got to keep those good results up through the rest of the season. Jacob Holmkamp rounds out the top 5 on the driver standings. Sean, there's also a team championship. What's that looking like?
Joe, this is what it looks like. You see Busby Miller High Life there at the top, 1,248 points. That's Antti Lepisto and Ardo Iamaki. The All-American racers are very close, though, Joe, on the back of Ritchie and Olenek here. They are 11 points back. A great battle here for the top of that podium there for the team standings. Bayside Motorsports, well, they're all alone in third. And boy, it really could stay that way because Yost and Nissan are really, really far behind there, fourth and fifth. I don't even know if those two will find a battle with each other before this season's over, as we are getting into the final weeks of this season.
Undoubtedly, it's the pressure's starting to get on, as we could say, as we look through the Audi Teams Championship as well.
Yep.
Justin Berry, Team Valvoline up at the top of there. And wow, Sean, very close fight between first and second over there.
Yeah, Mind Trick Motorsports, obviously, you see they're only 4 points behind. And, well, Jacob Hohenkamp and Ben Laughter have got something to say about that. So look for them to battle today and find good pace. Now, Mind Trick Motorsports, the Windows team, 118 points back. They've been dusted. Let's just say it. They're back there in third, and that's probably where they'll finish. But Leitzinger Racing holding on to that fourth spot right now in that championship.
Qualifying is going very quickly right now. Iamaki on the pole for the Nissans, and a newcomer over in the Audis up at the top, Yuko Lascala, up at the top of there. See if that changes before things are over. But real quick, we want to bring in our pit reporter for today. Johan Vandeveld is back again to keep tabs of what's happening down there. Now, of course, we don't expect any pit stops since there are none scheduled. So, Johan, I wanted to ask you about the thing that is on everybody's mind out there, traffic. How in the world do you deal with that around Lime Rock?
Traffic today will be insane, Joe. I don't know about you, but I've driven here a lot in the MX-5 when I was a rookie. Back in 2012, you only had 2 free tracks, and this was one of them. So you had to visit this a lot. And even in that car, the traffic was really difficult to deal with. So in these cars, man, you have 2 long straights, start-finish straight, of course, and the no-name straight. And that's really where you have to make the passes. But like I said, it's going to be really, really difficult on this Mickey Mouse circuit. And if there's any circuit that will cause problems with traffic, it is Lime Rock Park.
Undoubtedly. We're going to have our hands full calling the action as we watch Lepisto come around as he has finished his qualifying, I'm pretty sure. I think he's got both laps in at this point. He's just getting some more practice in out there. Oh, we're seeing he does not have a lap time. Oh, wow, that's going to make it. Oh, now he's got one. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So he was not done with it. He puts himself up onto third now.
Boy, Johan throwing the hammer down on this circuit, this grand old circuit. Mickey Mouse circuit, he referred to it as. Wow.
Well, we heard the winner of Yoni, the winner of the Lotus 49s, referred to Laguna Seca as a Mickey Mouse circuit. I wonder if that's maybe just got a different meaning, because I think of Mickey Mouse circuits as being kind of cookie cutter, but that's just me.
I think of them as having big ears, to be honest with you. But,
Sean being literal. All right, John Keefe coming around as well. Does he have a lap time in? No, he does not.
He does not, no.
And I'm pretty sure, let me check. Let's see, do not see any laps registered for him. Not sure if that means that he...
we're on board. We're watching Hall here now, on board with him. Let's see what he does when he gets to the line.
As he crosses, he does get onto the board. He's going to be 6th. So at least Jamie Hall avoids having to start from the back of his class, but I'm not sure that John Keefe...
Oh, he's coming across now.
First one doesn't count, unfortunately.
No, it does not.
Oh, and this one...
Yeah, that's probably enough.
I don't think... Yeah.
I think we put too much pressure on him there, Joe.
Well, I think that's going to be it for qualifying then. Pretty much everybody has finished out. Hall comes across for his second lap, and he does improve, gets himself up into third. So Jamie Hall with a nice run. He has been improving steadily, race by race. I've been impressed to see how the UK9 driver has found pace. But with that, I feel pretty safe saying we can go through the field. So let's start with the pole. Ardo Ihamaki is going to be up at the top with Rob Olenek completing the front row. Jamie Hall will be starting in third. Fourth will go to Anti Lepisto. Clayton McLeod starts in row 3 with 5th position. He's flanked by Philip Lake in 6th. Fabian Jungbluth starts in 7th with, 6th, with Clayton McLeod starting in 7th, as my qualifying jumped around there. John Hill starts in 8th with Dave Walsh starting in 9th. And David Miller will round out our top 10. Jerry Forkolb will start in 11th. And behind him, drivers did not get lap times in, so you won't see them on the screen. John Keefe and Udo Stachowiak.
Okay, let's go to the GTO field. It's going to be Juco Lescala. They're in the pole. Ove Trengrade will start on that front row with him. Michel de Jong, 3rd. Pedro Ferreira, 4th. Brian Shanahan, 5th. Sky Willis, a name we haven't seen in a while, starting 6th. Tanner McCullough, 7th. Hideki Koivica with an 8th place starting spot today. Jose Wilcox, going to start 9th. Daniel Mayoral Oliva, 10th. Mossab Benamar, 11th. 12th, going to go to Eric Dalinda. And Spencer Kemble going to round out this field, starting 13th in the GTOs.
There's your field. Don't expect all of them to see the checkered flag, unfortunately. It is expected to be a high attrition race out here for round 9 of the iRacing Kamel GT series. They will get a pace lap to get going, and they should be able to at least spread the field apart for the starts, but that just means they're going to catch the Audis even quicker. We see them waiting, lining up behind the roof pace car. Just a couple cars waiting to get out there.
And we've got a few first-timers in this field, so that in itself lends to a big question mark, Joe, and what we'll see as far as attrition goes.
This, I would not recommend this race for being your first time in this series. Oh, boy. That's going to be exciting. Hopefully they come back after this one as the roof pace car peels off from the start-finish line, leading them up to Big Bend. One thing I always loved about this place, though, Sean, is the mountains right there, right at the base of them. Everywhere you look around you, just beautiful hills with forest.
This is a very, very scenic part of Connecticut, Joe, and really beautiful this time of year with the snow on the ground and, well, ski resorts not very far from here, actually.
So, no such snow, no such precipitation out there being in the virtual world today. In fact, why don't we take a glance at the weather while we're waiting for this pace lap to go around. 80 degrees and 91 degrees on the track. So not too bad, thankfully. So hopefully they won't struggle too much, and the wind practically non-existent. Pretty ideal conditions, Sean. As ideal as you could hope for around Lime Rock.
You know what? I don't know that the weather... It could be any type of weather. I don't know if that's going to be as much of a factor as the traffic's going to be, Joe.
Certainly not. Up at the top of the hill now, and then down through the sweeper, the final right-hander. The pace car is going to peel off. It's going to give control over to Ardo Ihamaki as he whips it into the pit lane. Ihamaki now. Oh, and a jump behind them. Ihamaki gets a good run, but I'm not sure if we'd see a jump start for the car in 4th. That's Antti Lepisto. That's his teammate. They must have tried to time it together. He gets up to 3rd, looks at 2nd, but not enough. Let's go back to the Audis.
Trengere got the break on Lescala. Michel de Jong gets through also. De Jong and Trengere really get off to a great start. Catch Lescala sleeping there just a little bit. Lescala. Let's go with Lescala. I keep saying Scala. But really good start there. Shanahan able to hang on and pick up a couple of spots back there up to 4th.
I understand there might have been a little bit of action farther down. It looks like Pedro Fiera possibly involved in that in the Audis. We'll have to come back to that a little bit later. I think there was one other car involved in that. Looks like Sky Willis potentially. So we come up to our leaders. Ihamaki currently leading the way by almost a second already. In the Audis, that's a lot closer. Only 0.3 between de Jong and Trangerade. Yuko also really putting the pressure on in 3rd. In fact, it is a train of 5 essentially up at the top of the Audis battling for first.
Yeah, and movement in the middle of the field as well as Oliva just got around Benamar.
On screen, we saw Yuko taking a peek on the inside of De Jong into the uphill, but thought better of it. Looks like we do have the start replay pulled up, so let's take a look at this. Let's see what we're looking at. This looks like the Audi start, and I believe we're going to be watching the incident with Sky Willis. Willis, the number 19, you're going to see there, just gets in side to side, I believe, to that white car ahead. That's Pedro. That knocks her off.
We'll take a shot from above here real quick, Joe.
Yeah, Pedro goes spinning off into the tires, unfortunately, so severe damage. He actually took a tow after that incident.
Yeah, and still sits there on pit lane, actually.
Sky didn't do too badly. She's still out in 6th in her class.
Yeah, no, Sky did a good job of escaping that, actually. Joe, I'm seeing very, very, very minor damage on the car. So Sky's still sitting in a good spot. Just under 3 seconds behind Tanner McCullough here.
Looks like Musab Benamar, though, had a big incident as he comes back on track. We're going to look at the replay. We'll have to stay with this one after his spin. Had a little help from Eric DeLinda. This is a little bit of a sketchy re-entry. Wow, those Nissans barely avoided him.
Yeah.
Already into traffic is our leaders. Ihamaki working his way past Hideki Koivisto. He's still at the tail end of these Audis right now. Right on board with the Finn. Daniel Oliva up first, sneaks inside. And then up next, Sky Willis.
Sky doing a good job of getting out of the way there.
Bit of, I guess, I don't want to say wishful thinking, but Sky with an alien on her car. I guess maybe trying to motivate herself in her pace. Wow, close stuff here between the Nissan of Rob Olenek and the Audi of Sky Willis, but they get through it.
Duck and cover, Sky. Duck and cover.
Lepisto then gets through. Whoa! Another tight moment as she almost balks the car of Jamie Hall. Philip Lake comes up next, squeezes through there. It is going to be like this all day long between the two classes, Sean.
Yeah, Joe. And a lot of laps, a lot more laps than we're used to seeing in a regular race just because of the length of the circuit. But yeah, the Nissans are buzzing, and the Audis, like I said, duck and cover, guys. Duck and cover.
It's a bit of attempt we missed for second place by Antti Lepisto. Was not able to get past Olenek. They're now going by our Audi leaders. Ooh, bit of a hold up there for our overall leader. Ihamaki has to wait patiently to try and squeeze by De Jong. Now he gets in on the uphill. Through West Bend they go. Oh, these Audis are just losing tons of time as they all sneak by. Whoa!
Wow.
Jamie Hall having to get on the binders to stay out of our Audi leader, Ove Trangrade. We're getting a replay. I wonder if we can get an onboard Jamie here.
This is almost crazier than I anticipated, Joe.
This is a brilliant job by Jamie to not get in it. Look at that. Whew, he had about a foot between his nose and the rear spoiler of that Audi. We're going to stay on this replay, see what happened to Dave Walsh. We understand he had an incident in a Big Bend. This is the Nissan on the outside and the yellow. Oh, wow, that rear snapped around fast.
It really did, Joe. Didn't get it all the way out to the left, and it just snapped around on him, but he avoids any damage there and able to get back out on track cleanly.
Drivers have described racing around another track, Monaco, as flying a helicopter in your living room. That's kind of what it feels like right now with this traffic. Just having to thread the needle in so many places, be oh so careful, and yet at the same time, you are pushing at every opportunity. looking through the field. Incredibly, this has actually split most people apart by a fair amount. The closest fight that I see is for first place, in the GTO class.
Yep. And De Jong doing a really good job of keeping with Ove Trengrade here, even as the traffic continues to come through and try and split them up. John Hill just getting through there. On board with De Jong now.
Chasing him down to one of the few good places to pass here into Big Bend. The number 11 not close enough. Oh, he's going to get an opportunity. Can he follow this Nissan through down to the inside of Ove? Not close enough. Sometimes the traffic works for you, and sometimes it works against you. And as this battle tightens up, the battle in the GTPs tightens up as well. Olenek getting a little bit balked by one of the Audis there. That's Jose Wilcox trying to stay out of the way, giving them the inside of Big Bend. We still have 32 minutes left to go in this race. Not sure if it's a blessing or a curse, Sean, that it's a shorter race for them.
Yeah, again, lots of laps, which means a ton of focus here. All these Nissans just buzzing around. It's so tough on the Audi field. Look at this. Iamaki being challenged on the inside.
Oh, battle for the lead.
Iamaki just pushed out of the way, Joe.
Olenek with some force, and that lost him not just first, but second as Lepisto got through. Let's look at this replay one more time. Olenek gets a run. Squeezes to the inside. Wow, there was just barely enough room. And a little bit of excuse me. Might look rude from that angle, so we watch it one more time from above. Well, this is almost the type of racing you have to do around here, Sean.
Yeah, something's got to give, right? And, you know, sometimes your chances to pick up positions are very limited, especially on this track.
Olenek going around the outside of Tanner McCullough. Somehow does it without losing a position. But look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do we have 5? Yes, we do. Both Hall and Philip Lake are in this fight for the lead. This is one of the tightest Nissan fights for P1 I've seen in a while. Olenek and De Jong sneak through the traffic.
Whoa! Big trouble for De Jong. Got into it with Jerry Forkhold. We've got a replay of it. Oh boy, Joe, right out of West Bend.
Yeah, De Jong thought he was clear. Forkhold caught a little of that curb, it looked on the inside. Maybe unsettled his car. I think that made him check up more than De Jong expected.
And they sat there forever, Joe, waiting to get back on track as traffic came through. Tough break for De Jong there. He's going to fall way, way down the list here.
Into 9th within his class. This gives a chance for Yuko Leskela, who is about 2 seconds back from Ove Trengrade, but that can be made up or lost in a flash of a moment around here with the way traffic is just weaving in and out of everybody. Sean, another oval term I'll borrow. It's a conveyor belt now.
Yes, it is, Joe. It has turned into a conveyor belt indeed. A great job by Trengrade. There's the conveyor belt, Joe, right there on screen for our fans.
Yeah, Trengrade has withstood all of what's been going on around him with just great stoicness. I mean, no surprise there. He's looked pretty unfazed for most of the race.
Well, he's got better pace in the Audi today than he did in the Lotus 49 earlier this morning. So good on Ove. And boy, I'll tell you what, just keep it in the gray here, buddy, and you may have a win.
And we've got an Audi off in front of our leaders. Oh, that's De Jong. I think he was just ducking the car off track to get out of the way. Oh, he's given up. De Jong's taking a tow.
He has, and he's taking it behind the wall, unfortunately. Boy, couldn't overcome the disappointment there of that incident.
Yeah, he has officially left the server, so DeYoung has called it quits for today. Our top three, here you see them on the screen: Olenek, Lopisto, Ihimaki. And despite the coordination of those Miller Porsches, at least at the start, Olenek has managed to sneak that Toyota up into P1 and held it. I found it very fascinating that Lopisto and Ihimaki had that timed out together. That's not something we've really seen as far as team tactics go so far this season.
No, we haven't, Joe. I'm a little surprised by that too.
Wow, Lopisto closing in on Olenek and leaving his teammate behind. Wonder if Ihimaki struggling with damage after that side-to-side contact he had with Olenek. They get by Koivisto. Only one gets by Koivisto. Ihimaki is stuck, trying to find his way around finally through the... Lopisto finally finding his way around in the left hook.
And then Ihimaki had to get by.
You can see just how much time that cost him. About 1.8 seconds between Lopisto and Olenek now. Let's see, how many cars do we have left? 22, am I seeing correctly? 19 still out on track, actually.
Yes, 19, Joe. Call it 20, actually. Eric DeLinda is back out on track after a long pit stop.
Well, I understand that fourth place is not safe. Philip Lake has his teammate Jamie Hall in the Texaco Haviland machine. Excuse me, there's also a battle in GTO that's close as well, but we've been watching this fight for the lead as Traingrade lets them all by.
It got in the middle of this battle between Tanner McCullough and Sky Willis. That is a battle, a legitimate battle for fourth as all of these Nissans come through. You know, Spencer Kimball off course there, getting out of the way.
As we watch that fight, Sky trying to do anything she can to get past Tanner, because this is going to be for fourth position, and one more spot up means a potential podium. Come their way up over the hill. Sean, do you get kind of light over the crest in these Audis? I know they don't have a lot of downforce.
Indeed you do, and throttle management a really, really big deal through there. It's a very, very tricky spot for the Audis. I'm surprised we haven't seen more trouble, to be honest with you.
Well, speak of the devil, Sean. I'm sure we still got 25 minutes left to go. Oh, meanwhile, what happened to Johan here? Oh, pass for third place. Oh, fourth place. Excuse me. This was between Hall and Lake, our teammates swapping positions. Jamie Hall gets himself back up into fourth. Remember, he had a couple issues a little bit earlier on. Was Hall around the outside of Big Bend. No, they're similar painted cars. Hall in the number 3, Lake in the number 5. Oh, they've got position switched around again, so
they're having a little fun.
Ooh, that battle. Oh, and Sky Willis, just as I was about to call her battle, she had some contact with Fabian Jungbluth. Looks like Fabian just started to lose control on his own, and Sky was in the wrong place at the wrong time. You're going to see on the exit of Big Bend here, that number 7 Nissan catches a little dirt.
Boy,
able to get it going again, though.
Good job by Sky there of surviving that, Joe.
Absolutely. almost seemed unfazed. However, she did lose a little bit of time. She's now 8/10 back from McCullough. She was almost 2/10 behind him before. I'm seeing that most everybody's spread apart, so if that can stay, let's run through the top 5 of each of our classes. Rob Olenek is your overall leader. He's got about a second lead over Antti Lepisto at the moment. Ardo Iamaki rounds out our podium, but that is not safe at all because Jamie Hall is trying to reel him in as best he can. He sits in 4th. Philip Blake rounds out our top 5 in the GTP class. Let's go to the GTOs.
Let's do it. And it's Ove Trenger in command of this race right now. Joe putting on a really, really good drive here. The Scandinavian being followed by the Finn, Juko Laskela. They're in second after starting on the pole. Brian Shanahan finds himself now up in 3rd. Shanahan dealing with this traffic and...
sorry to interrupt. We got a battle for the lead. Antti Lepisto to the inside of Olenek. Barely gets it through, coming through Big Bend, but he gets it done. Let's give it one more look as we came in just partway through. A little bit of traffic from a fellow Nissan, actually, for Olenek. Helped Lepisto sneak to the inside. And then once he had that nose in, it was almost a done deal. Sorry to cut you off there, Sean.
No, that's okay, buddy. That's okay. Racing happens. So we left off at Brian Shanahan, who was up to 3rd. Sky Willis now pulling off the pass on Tanner McCullough. Sky shoots up to 4th.
And that was 3 wide with Iamaki to the inside of those 2 as well. And still they made it through the corner.
Yeah, this is Sky just putting it in the middle there and then takes the inside. Holds the line. A little bit of contact between the 2. Sky gets that position away from Tanner McCullough, who now sits in 5th. It's a long way back to Hideki Koibito in 6th.
So Brian Shanahan only a second ahead of Sky Willis. Could we see her get onto the podium today? Be a fantastic result for her. That battle for the lead has not abated. They've spread apart to about 7/10 each between 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It's Lepisto, Olenek, Iamaki are ordered right now. Still 20 minutes left to go, almost exactly halfway through the race. Ooh, understand the time of clouds, or Clayton McLeod. Different McLeod, sorry.
Yeah, different McLeod.
Had an off. This was coming out of the left hook. You can see he's got it back going. We might be able to get a replay here. Let's see if we've got it. It's involved a little bit of traffic. I think this was the car of Mossab Ben Amar who's gotten going again. You can see Amar was in the black Audi there. Just a little touch to the side, and Clayton gets it pointed back forward once again.
Joe, as we come back to racing live here, I can tell you that Sky Willis is all over Brian Shanahan right now. Almost pulled off a pass a moment ago. Now we've got more traffic trying to get through here. It's John Keefe coming through.
Shanahan still able to get back to the apex. Boy, we've seen Sky in a few cars in the Lotus 49 and the Mazda MX-5, and she's been mid-pack in there, but today, this is top-tier stuff. Whatever it is about the Audi, she loves this car, and she's got a good run on Brian Shanahan. She looks to the inside, down into Big Bend. She's already got a nose ahead, but can she get the job done? Shanahan tries to come back at her, holding hard around the outside with that four-wheel drive, but she's got it done. Sky Willis says, what glass ceiling? She gets onto the podium.
Wow. Expect her to pull away. Now, I think, I mean, Shanahan's had great pace for this entire race, but something strange going on with Willis. Maybe it's got something to do with that alien on the side of the car there, Joe.
Worth a few tenths per lap, I suppose. Meanwhile, Rob Olenek is dropping off the Pisto and Iamaki closing in.
More trouble for Jungbluth.
Oh. See if we can get this replay up as he's in a horrible place there on the outside of the track.
Yeah. Fabian's had a rough day, and he was behind that battle we were just following, and he just slides off there. No contact, but again, he's still sitting stationary now. Finally gets the car whipped around.
Diaz driver going to want to get into the shower after this one and just wash off the bad memories. So Shanahan may have been passed by Willis, but he is not giving up on trying to get back onto the podium, and he's got Tanner McCullough back there too. Look at this three-way fight for third place.
Yeah, this is going to be a good battle right down to the wire here.
Got some traffic. John Hill coming up, and our leader, Antti Lepisto, going to catch him in a perfect place. Or is it? They're going to sneak through. Willis has to hold to the outside. Here comes second and third place behind this train as well.
Yeah, and Shanahan does not want to upset his line at all.
Trying to hold steady. Nissan's practically weaving left and right in and out of this battle for third in the GTOs, and that does split up Olenek and Iamaki by quite a distance. Through West Bend now. That worked out very advantageous for the lead cars in both of those packs.
Didn't work out well for Brian Shanahan, though, unfortunately. He loses a lot of ground here to Sky Willis, who's now opened it up to just about a second.
Tanner McCullough is licking his chops, though. Yep. That blue machine just behind, you can see him close in up into Big Bend on Shanahan. I want to say this is a fantastic result for McCullough as well. I don't remember him being this far up typically either. Wow, he is putting the pressure on. He gets a great run coming on to No Name straight. Shanahan trying to hold to the left. Is he going to fight around the outside of the uphill? He's giving it a go as they come over the crest, but the car just doesn't have enough grunt. McCullough gets himself into fourth. Oh, Olenek apparently overtaken by Iamaki somewhere along the line. Let's look at the replay here. Oh, and it looks like John Hill was held up ahead of him by Yuko Leskela.
Wow, that was...
Whoa, almost four wide.
That's a big gaggle of scary right there.
Oof. That is impressive stuff. You see from above, not quite all four at the same time, but pretty darn close. Might as well have been. Brave move from Iamaki. That's got our Finns 1-2 in the Miller Porsches now. We haven't checked in on Trangrade in a while. He's got about 3 seconds over Yuko. He's dealing with traffic of his own as he goes by the slower Audis.
Yeah, and you know what? Ove's done a great job of managing the traffic as it comes through. And as I say that, almost bangs doors there with Jose Wilcox. Keeps it clean, though. Ove having a really solid drive here at Lime Rock Park today.
We're pretty certain that Yuko is at least a newcomer to the broadcast. Not sure if he's raced yet this week or in previous weeks. What club is he hailing from? I believe he's Finnish. Yes, he is.
Yes.
So he is certainly, if he shows up more often throughout the rest of this season, I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in that number 6.
I agree. I agree. I always, every time we have a new Finn show up, I kind of scratch my head a little bit and go, okay, is this the next ace to take everybody down?
Not seeing our usual aces here. That Ove Trangrade is going to try and take advantage of that. Meanwhile, battle for the lead. For a while, it was down to 2/10 as that Audi ducking off. That was Mossab Ben Amar just letting the Nissans through. Yamaki holding it to within half a second on his teammate Lepisto. Olenek is going to be wanting these two to fight almost immediately. 13 minutes left to go on the clock. The rest of our battles are starting to spread apart. Shanahan falling off the back of McCullough, unfortunately. And Sky Willis leaving McCullough in the dust at almost 2.5 second gap there.
Yeah, we can't talk enough about the drive that Sky Willis has had in this race. Oh, trouble for Jamie Hall.
Off course out of Big Bend. Did he get some help here? No, this was driver error.
Yeah. Got in a little hot, looks like there, Joe.
Easy to do down in a Big Bend, and I'm sure these Nissans are a handful around that bumpy corner, which is something we haven't talked about. What did you see, Sean?
Well, Clayton McLeod made contact with Mossab Ben Amar, and very lucky to keep the car on track. Boy, Ben Amar really struggling right now as he had trouble with Koivica, as Koivica was coming through right after that.
Traffic is not letting anybody rest for a moment. But we've talked so much about the traffic, Sean. We haven't mentioned this track also. This is the old Scan from 2006. This is a bumpy track.
Almost reminds you a little bit of Sebring. Maybe not quite, but it is bumpy indeed.
There we ride on board with third place Olenek. He's got Yamaki down to half a second. Yamaki dropping off of our leader a little bit. Oh, but it's closing up because there's traffic once again. Jose Wilcox trying to stay out of the way. It's almost pointless at times to give the gaps. They just keep changing every time you turn around. Second place, excuse me, in our Audis that they're working by, and unfortunately, oh, as he has a moment, almost gets into Iamaki. My goodness.
Man.
Hair standing on end. Right on board with Lascala. There's that crest you mentioned. There's the hands working at the wheel trying to keep the car straight. Amazing nobody hit each other. Well, in all of this, apologies to fans of Johan Vanderbilt. Fanbelt, we have had some DNFs. Can you give us the update on who's exited this race so far?
Don't worry about it. This is great fun to watch. The battles are really close. Yeah, we haven't seen any retirements recently. Everything seems to be going quite well with traffic. The last one that we saw leave, of course, was Michel de Jonge, a big name in the Audi field. He has now retired the session, but like I said, everything seems to be quieted down. The gaps are closing quite dramatically because of traffic, but no crashes. Keep it up like this.
It's incredible. Despite the incidents that we've seen, very few of them seem to have been race-ending. We continue to watch third place Olenek. These top three have been able to keep themselves separated from Philip Lake and Jamie Hall. You can see how close the battle now is for second. We ride on board with Iamaki, looking back at Olenek. Still got a quarter of the race left to go. There are going to be opportunities, probably going to be opportunities all the way down to the last lap.
Now I wonder, and I hope we get an opportunity to ask a driver, is a track like this considerably tougher than, say, a much bigger track that's like 3.5 miles long? Because it's just the continuous focus that it requires. It seems like you're never taking a break here, Joe.
I thought you were going to bring up the Nürburgring, as far as which requires more focus. Especially this corner right here, down a plunging downhill right-hander, final corner. Such commitment needed, even in these Nissans. little bit of traffic going to get in the way of our leader. Antti Lepisto held up by Brian Shanahan. But then it pays back to Olenek and Iamaki as they have to pick their way by that GTO.
And, you know, speaking of Nürburgring, we will be there tomorrow, Joe, for the Lotus 79 CTC Championship. The Lotus 79 getting around the ring tomorrow.
Oh, very similar to these Nissans. They tend to share a few drivers because of the ground effects that they both have. But I tell you what, the Lotus 79 around the Nordschleife will hold on to your butts.
I get that reference.
Meanwhile, man, that's just apologies to the rest of the field, but we cannot take the cameras off of these top three. They are the closest fight in the Nissans and in the Audis. And every time they start to separate, you can see right here, they've got gaps amongst each other, but then here comes traffic again. There's Jose Wilcox. One's going to get through. Two going to be held up a little bit. That's Iamaki. And you can see the difference that makes. Olenek with a fantastic run. Defensive from Iamaki down into Big Bend. And Olenek runs out of track. Oh, Hall and Lake going at it. Hall goes around. Let's look at the replay. It was looking good on entry as they were side by side. Just a little bit of traffic helping that along. Hall just lost all by himself.
Yep. Pressure. Feeling the pressure from a teammate there.
He was a little bit offline on the outside. Could have been a bump that maybe just caught him out. Didn't expect it. Unloosed the car. Oh, and hearing something's happening with Shanahan. Oh, he's off track. Is he in the wall? Amazingly, he keeps out of it. Oh, we saw just the end of it. Yes, indeed. Clayton McLeod was a part of that. Made contact with him. We're going to see it one more time here on the replay.
You know, honestly, it's not the first time today Shanahan's been the victim here. It's not the first time he's had contact with somebody. What a great job of keeping it off of that Armco barrier, though.
Thankfully for McCullough, or excuse me, Shanahan, he's well ahead of Jose Wilcox, and he's going to be able to keep in 6th place.
Still being assaulted on track, though, is Olenek and Iamaki and Lepisto just get by him there.
And Koivisto did take a position away from Shanahan, so damage minimized, but not completely been rid of. Wow, look at this. I saw our leaders there for a second. Almost 3 wide, it looked like, down the no-name straight. And Koivisto just at the wrong place at the wrong time for Ardo Iamaki. And yet still Olenek was not able to do anything with it. Five minutes left to go now. And amazingly, I'm still seeing 19 cars out there out of the 26 that started. It's a little bit lighter, but still not an empty track.
Yeah, no, Joe, we started with 26. I'm still thinking that's really, really good. It's exceeding expectations right now.
A fifth of the field still out there. Or a fifth of the field only gone, I should say. Hope there's more than a fifth of the field out there. Oh, now they're separating. They get a little bit of space with no traffic, and you can see what happens to our leaders now that they can run by themselves. They're going to have Tanner McCullough up ahead, and less, actually, before this lap is over. Pulling it up the uphill now. Looking back, you can see our leaders gaining one by one, inch by inch. Pisto catches him in West Bend. He's got to slow up a little bit. That brings the gap back down to half a second. Brave dive from his teammate Ardo Iamaki to regain that ground. Now coming up to Big Bend. Guy Willis up next. Is this going to influence this fight? Look at how close our 2 leaders are. Going to get her on the no-name straight. 1 and then 2. Not quite for Rob Olenek as he has to wait patiently.
Good job by Sky, just staying out of that and out of the way, and it's still safe, holding down the final spot on the podium.
3 minutes left to go. And in most races, that would be close to the white flag. Sean, what do we have? 4 more laps that we can squeeze in here?
About 4.5, yep.
Out of the S's, onto the no-name straight yet again. Linux still keeping a watchful eye. He got balked a couple times by traffic that last lap, and that has put him on the back foot. This is incredibly light traffic, though, recently for these Nissans.
They're going to catch Ben Amar in a good spot here.
But a little bit offline for Ardo Imaki. Doesn't lose too much time. You can see more traffic helped him out because Spencer Kimball was to the outside of Lepisto down in a Big Bend. And they've got second place driver, Yuko Lescala. Yuko not trying to squeeze anybody. He's got no paddle nearby.
It's like, this is my first time on the broadcast, and you know what? I'm looking at a podium. I think I'm just going to... Oh, Yuko gets out into the grass. Yikes. Too much pressure. We'll shut up about him.
Meanwhile, battle for the lead. Here we go. To the inside, defensive move from Lepisto, trying to fend off his teammate. Iamaki heads back to the racing line. Nothing doing down into Big Bend, but that side-by-side action brings Rob Olenek back into the picture. One, two, three, with a minute left to go. Everything to fight for the GTP lead. Boy, when Keith Ritchie doesn't show up, the mice come out to play. Oh, that was close between Iamaki. 2 laps to go now. Iamaki takes a peek down at a Big Bend. Still not close enough. Oh, I just can't help but just watch this one, Sean. I am really just unsure of how this is going to unfold. Incredibly, they don't have traffic close ahead. I don't think they're going to catch Tanner McCullough before this is out, so it is now down to these 3 to duke it out amongst themselves. Half a second between each of our 3 leaders.
It's really one of the better battles we've seen this season in the Nissan class.
And again, much better off that final corner for Iamaki. White flag is out. Lepisto holding station just about 0.4, 0.5 of a second.
Ove Trentgrade taking his white flag, Joe.
We'll jump over to him. Sorry to Ove for not giving him more coverage this race. It's been a brilliant run by him as well. A great run by Lepisto, who's got just 1 more corner to go. He started this thing in 4th. He slips to the inside, but is it going to be enough? It's going to be a run to the line. Here comes Iamaki running him down. Can he get him? He's got it. Iamaki wins.
Wow. I'm stunned.
Who would have thought Ove Trangarade not nearly as dramatic as he comes around well clear of the Finn, Yuko Lescala. The Norwegian takes a win today here at Lime Rock Park in the GTO class. Let's take one more look at those prototypes. What happened in that final corner? Just not brave enough ducking to the inside?
I think only the driver can answer that for us there, Joe. I have no explanation for it.
And at the line,
What
if we
a
can get an
finish.
above shot, yes, look at this. less than a car length between him. He was halfway up him at the line. Just incredible. Wow.
And there you have it. Another exciting race at Lime Rock Park. Jeez.
Between teammates, no less. Ian Maki burning up the donuts in celebration. With that, we're going to take a break here on the Global Sim Racing channel and catch our breath. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews. Don't go away. Welcome back to Connecticut here at Lime Rock Park. We just watched round 9 of the iRacing Camel GT Series. 2 surprise winners in 2 races. This one on the final corner of the final lap. Ardo Ihimaki snatched the win away from his teammate, Antti Lepisto. Look at the time. 4/100ths of a second between them. Just incredible. Rob Olenek comes home in 3rd. Right behind them, Philip Lake was in 4th, a little ways back, with Jamie Hall rounding out our top 5. Clayton McLeod finished in 6th, and John Keefe came home P7. Fabian Jungbluth, boy, he had a hard day today. He still managed to be only 1 lap down, and he finished 8th. John Hill was behind him in 9th. And the last of our Nissans to survive this one, David Miller, rounding out the top 10. Sean?
Okay, and that makes an easy transition to the GTO field where Ove Trengrade had a great drive today and avoided a lot of trouble out there to finish first. Juco Lascella with a nice debut here, qualified on the pole and takes second place. That's a big day. Sky Willis showing up here on the broadcast today. Sky coming from a few spots back here to finish on the podium. Congratulations, Sky. Tanner McCullough, 4th place finish. Hideki Koibitsu, 5th. Brian Shanahan, 6th. Jose Wilcox going to be 7th today. Mossab Benamar, 8th. 9th going to go to Spencer Kimball. Michel de Jong, who had his share of trouble here, will finish 10th in class. And then we go to 11th in the Nissans. Jerry Forkholm, 11th in the GTOs. Daniel Mayoral Oliva. Dave Walsh will go 12th in the Nissans, 12th in the GTOs. Eric Delinda, Pedro Ferreira will finish 13th. And, well, Udo Stashawak did not take a start here, but was in the field.
Unfortunately, we don't have anybody showing up for their interviews yet. We're hoping that everybody's just kind of calming themselves down. Probably have to maybe get a glass of water after that one. Maybe a fresh shirt even.
I have a guess. Maybe some of them have to get in the seat for bathrooms, possibly. So exactly. Who knows? But looks like Phil Lake has shown up, Joe.
All right, our 4th place driver in the prototypes. Let's talk to him and see what he thought of all the action out there on track. Philip, does it feel like you survived?
Yeah, I had a pretty clean race, actually. I enjoyed that one. Got a little bit tough at times, lose quite a bit of time if you misread what an Audi's going to do, but it was overall a fun race.
Now, a couple times we saw you in a battle with your teammate Jamie Hall, and unfortunately had some issues. I take it there's no team orders out in the Texaco Haviland Nissans?
No, not really. I think if it was close in the championship, between him and someone else, then I might let him have the position, but there's no set in stone team orders.
So Lime Rock Park always puts up pretty frantic races. Do you enjoy coming here with the Kamel series? Do you want to see this one back?
I could take it or leave it. I think it's a little bit of a lottery. It's not really who's the fastest. It's kind of a lot of luck involved, but I mean, it is what it is.
Sounds like Johan's got some questions for Phil as well. Johan, you want to step in?
Philip, you had a great race today. Tell us a little bit, how was dealing with the traffic today while battling with your teammates? Because it looked really, really hairy out there. Is this something that you see as well, for example, next week when you go and visit Watkins Glen?
Watkins should be a bit easier. Most of the time we set up a move on an Audi a couple of corners before. You know roughly where they're going to be, and if they follow their normal line, then you try to cut back underneath them on the exit, and you can use it to your advantage to overtake some same class cars as well. Which I think Jamie got a good run on me out of the last corner today, and made a move and sort of boxed me in behind an Audi, which is something we can do if the situation's there.
Yeah, I noticed that several times, yeah, but that's not something that's like that happens most of the time only at Lime Rock, or also at other places you can try that move.
Oh, we'll try it if we can get into that situation. If you can get someone stuck behind an Audi, then that's just all part of racing.
Well, it was exciting to watch. Glad that you at least had a little bit more relief than others, but you'll definitely need to talk to some of your fellow drivers because, boy, it was frantic. Congratulations on a 4th place, Phil.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
That's Philip. Sean likes to say in and around the lake.
Yes.
Prototype 4th place today. Nobody else has shown up. I think everybody's too frazzled to try and give us answers today. So let's close up. Again, a big thank you to the Kamel GT community for coming back once again to bring GSRC on as the broadcaster of the iRacing Kamel series. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. And additional thanks to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, who provide our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of their great work. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Amjed, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check us out on social media. We're on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel. Special thanks to Johan, our pit reporter. Once again, the fan belt. Glad to have him on the team. Next race going to be at Watkins Glen. That'll be Saturday, February 17th at 12 p.m. Eastern, going to the boot configuration. Much longer lap time than around here, so hopefully traffic will be a little bit easier to deal with. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. However, until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.